What's up, you beautiful people? It's Bob Saget coming back for another another YouTube video. What is up, everybody? How we doing? It's your boy Trace Trades coming back again for another video here really quick. And this is going to be a more laid back video than we usually go over. I wanted to kind of just talk really quickly because I've seen some stuff going on in the AMC community here recently that I think could, use some addressing. And I've got them kind of in sequential order, but I think is the most important subjects to talk about. But nonetheless, I kind of want to start off with this. So obviously not a financial advisor, is not financial advice. You know my whole spiel, yada, 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 yada. But I want to start off here talking about emotion, tension, and division, right? These are the three things that I think are really, really riding high right now in the AMC community. It's no mystery in the least bit that this 500 million share authorization has spread a large amount of controversy, right? And yesterday I put out a video talking about my specific opinion on this 500 million share dilution and authorization, right? And there was a lot of controversy, right? I've seen people say X, I've seen people say Y, I've seen why they want to vote this and why they want to vote that. And what I want to double down on immensely is the fact that I am a single person, and please, please, please do not do something because I did it, right? Make your own decisions, and that's okay to do, right? Trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust the research that you've done, because ultimately that's what matters, And I also want to address this emotionality and this division and this tension that's here, right? Because it doesn't need to exist. And I'm going to tell you why. We as people, we as investors, the retail investor that's in AMC right now, we are working together to make this happen, right? To make this squeeze happen. And furthermore, right? All this stuff that's affecting the stock price, this dilution prospect is a drop in the bucket compared to where we're sitting right now. I mean, you got to look at the numbers and see. Today we're at 99% utilization. The short borrow fee rate was at 17%. The loans out on loan right now is like 140 million or something, the highest it's ever been in the last 12 months according to Ortex data. I mean, everything is pointing in the right direction. That this is a very, very, very squeezable stock, and I feel very comfortable with where we're sitting right now. And honestly, I think it's important to address this specifically because of how much tension and division there's been. I want to say that I've got nothing but love in my heart, genuinely, for the people who have been in this community. Not just my channel, but every channel that's been trying to spread peace, love, positivity, information, all this sort of stuff that's contributed to this cause, right? Because it's awesome. I've got something I want to say. It's a story, right? I like telling stories. I made a friend through my YouTube channel and through AMC specifically, right? Because I know that AMC is the main reason. I'll just be honest, the main reason that I got this big this fast, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. And one of the friends that I've made through my channel has literally pulled me out of the depths of some of the lowest points in when I even began to get doubts in the AMC cause, and when I would be down in the trenches worrying about, hey, what are people going to think of this? What are people going to think of that? Really digging into the negative comments on YouTube, letting it get into my head. And this guy has genuinely helped me so much. And I'm not going to name names. I don't want to out anybody, but you know who you are. And without that, I don't know, who I'd be as a person, right? And I could think of so many people in my Discord, in the YouTube community here, in other Discords, in Reddit threads who have made friends and made connections and grown smarter together with other freaking apes because of this thing that's happening right now, this squeeze, this AMC movement. Please, please, please don't forget why we started this, right? We did it for one reason, why it started, right? We did it because we want to bleed these hedges dry. Along the way, we found that there's something greater than just working for ourselves. I have personally. I got into AMC as a swing trade, right? If I want to continue just trading stocks, you can go back and watch all of my videos, and you can see that I know how to make money. I've done it, right? I turned $8,000 into $45,000 in about a month and a half. I started my YouTube channel on December 16th, and you can see my account balance on, it would have been January 27th, the day of the AMC run-up. I went up to $47,000, right? We hit home runs in CTRM, BNGO, OCGN, a whole bunch of different freaking stocks out of like 75 that we talked about on the channel. I think like 70% of them were 100+% runners at the time of the video that I recorded, right? So if I wanted to just make money, I would do it. I would, because there's always opportunities in the stock market. But I'm talking about AMC specifically because I got into it as a swing trade, and I saw this potential to really change freaking lives, to do some shit that has not been done before, right? To be a part of something freaking awesome. I think it's really important to remember that, right? To stay really grounded, to stay grounded in the fact that we're doing this for each other, not just for ourselves. It's so easy to give up on ourselves and a lot harder to give up on other people. You know, when I have hard days, when there are days that I don't want to get out of bed, or I don't want to make my videos because I'm afraid of what people are going to say, or I'm afraid of this, or I'm afraid of that, you know, I think about everybody out there who has ever shown me support and who's shown this community support and how many people I'd be letting down, you know? And I'm not putting any pressure on you guys at all, but I'm saying this to come in and give you a roundabout, you know, figure of speech per se, and say, look, if you are having a hard time by yourself right now, think of that other person that you just don't want to give up on, right? So I really want to double down on that, right? Don't please reground yourself, right? Don't give into this negativity. We don't need to be ape versus ape. It's not an us or them. It's not a war, right? It's not like that. We have differing opinions, and that's okay. That's 100% okay. There's counter arguments to be had everywhere. There's good reasons for X. There's good reasons for Y. It doesn't mean that either one is wrong inherently, because ultimately what's going to happen is the majority of people will vote on their decisions, and whatever the outcome is what the outcome will be, and we will plan for that, right? We'll come up with a course of action depending on whichever happens, and that's okay, right? It's 100% okay. It breaks my heart. It genuinely does to see the division and the tension and the hostility that has come from this AMC movement. And if there's anything that I genuinely mean when I do this channel, guys, is to spread positivity. I am so freaking grateful and happy for this community, the AMC community, the people that I've met along the way, and for how many like, there was one person that I remember very, very distinctly. I was trading on a live stream. We were scalping a stock, and this guy said, "Trey, you just made me $300,000." I was showing him a setup for a particular stock. I don't even remember the ticker symbol, but it's in there. If you're watching this video right now, drop that comment because I want to see, so you can talk to everybody. But he said, "Trey, I just made $300,000 off of that call. Thank you so much, man." And that sort of stuff, you know, that means a lot to me. It's the stuff like that where you just remember the people's lives that you can change. Not just me, but everybody, right? We all make impacts. You never know when you're making an impact on somebody. Don't forget that, you know? So this is not, you know, the emotionality of directly investing into the stock, right? We need to come into this with a logical perspective, have our confidence in the due diligence that we've done, have confidence in the numbers, have confidence in the technical setup, have confidence in the fact that we can do this together as people, right? We can you know, keep diamond handing the crap out of this thing. Of course, you guys do what you want to do. It's up to you. It's your decision, which brings us into, you know, a point that I'll talk about later, which is risk management. But I want to touch on that first and foremost because I think that's the most important piece of this is ape don't hurt ape, right? We're working together, guys. AMC and GameStop both can moon. AMC especially, there's been a lot of hostility, a lot of division, and I really genuinely want you guys to know that if you feel that, just know that I'm on your team. And that I love you, you know, that I care about you guys. So please be good to each other. That's all that I'm asking. Next thing I want to talk about is stock and options. And that is regarding AMC stock and AMC options. And I've seen a little bit of confusion in regards to how these can both affect stock price. Now, I had this conversation with Matt Coors on his YouTube live stream earlier today, and I thought it was a really good point to bring up, and it's regarding stock and options and how they can affect the price movement. So when you buy a stock, right, let's say that you were to buy 100,000 shares of AMC at $9, that would be a big enough purchase to move the stock price. Conversely, if you were to buy 100,000 contracts at a $9 strike, inherently in and of itself, if the stock is trading at $8 or if it's trading at $9 or it's trading at $10, the stock price will not move at all. Right? So what options do essentially is if you have an out the money call option, right? You have a strike price of 13, 14, 15 bucks, stock is trading at $9, $10, and you all of a sudden go in the money, meaning that the market value is higher than the strike price of your current option. So hypothetically speaking, right? You bought in at $9, the strike price, you're saying, hey, I think it's gonna go above 14 bucks by this expiration date. It goes up to 16 bucks. Now the market value is higher than the bet that you were making, saying it's gonna go to 14 bucks. When that happens, it gets hedged for, delta hedged, which means that essentially these market makers purchase shares because one call option is worth 100 shares, right? They purchase stock. They purchase stock to hedge against the fact that they're very likely going to end up in the money by the off chance that they get exercised, right? And I've seen people, you know, think that, hey, you know, by these call options expiration date, this could very, very well cause the stock to move up and gamma squeeze. And it depends on the scenario, but there's been some confusion about this, DFV, his call options getting exercised and how this is going to influence the stock price, right? So somebody let me know in the comment section down below whatever his strike price was, but I know it was very, 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 very deep in the money. I've seen both $12 and I've seen $20. I think more people have said 12 than 20, but don't take that as gospel. Don't take that by gospel for any means. But regardless, right? So if he's got those super deep in the money right now, 99.9% chance those have already been dealt to hedged for, meaning that the market makers have already purchased the stock, the security of that specific call option, and have already prepared those shares by the off chance that it gets exercised, because that's what you need to do. If you have a car dealership and you're expecting 10 people to come buy a car, you better have 100, 150, 200 cars from them to pick from, right? You may not get 10 people to come in. Maybe you only get one. Maybe you get nobody. But if you come in and you don't have enough cars for the people who are coming to look at cars, you get into some, you're getting kind of into the poop. You don't want that. You don't want that to happen. The same thing is for call options, right? So you have to hedge for that, expecting that worst case scenario, you're going to have at least X amount of shares for these previously out the money call options that are now in the money. And essentially what that does is it protects them from coming out negative, right? They want to come out profitable or at least break even. And it causes the stock price to move up, right? So I would bet you a lot of money that a lot of, GameStop, in fact, I think this is just pretty factual. Everybody knows this. I wouldn't say everybody, but majority, right? GameStop, when it ran up the first time, was very likely because of a combination of gamma squeezing and short squeezing, shorts covering positions and delta hedging taking place for a crap ton of call options that started out the money that then ran in the money. But the big caveat here is, remember when we said that call options don't inherently in and of itself move the stock price, which means that you need purchasing of security. You need people to purchase the actual stock to move the stock price up, right? So I've seen this argument that if we all just buy, options, that this thing will start moving really, really quick. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's really important to realize that there are significant risks involved with purchasing out the money call options, right? And if you're going to do so, I would highly, highly, highly encourage, not financial advice, obviously you guys do you, I would highly encourage to make sure it's a far out expiration date, pay the higher premium because it's 100% worth it, so that you're not, risking the farm, betting the house on this call option, because that's essentially what it is, right? You're betting on a stock going up or down. And if you come to your expiration date and the stock is trading underneath your strike price, you come out with nothing, right? If you come out, if expiration date comes, you're out the money, you lost whatever premium you paid. And that sucks. It sucks, right? You can make a lot of money by leveraging with options. And in no way, shape, or form am I telling you not to do that, because I play options, right? It's a great way to make money. It 100% is. But be careful, right? Be very, very, very careful, because there's a lot of risks involved with options. I really want to highly encourage people to know that. I think it's going to be important. I think you're going to definitely need options in order to gamma squeeze the stock to get it moving. I think it's going to be an essential piece. The gamma squeeze, triggering a short squeeze, triggering a gamma squeeze, triggering a short squeeze. It'll be this cycle over and over and over that can create an endless feedback loop of price action on a stock. But please only play options if you're comfortable with them. You know what the risks are, right? And you're managing your risk, because there is risk involved. If you're wrong, you lose your premium, right? It's a big deal. So I kind of wanted to touch on that, just mainly because there's been a lot of talk about it, and I've being completely transparent, right? I've made videos about call options in the past, and people say, Trey, you need to be more responsible about talking about call options, because they're risky. And I'm doubling down on that. In that video, I did say they're risky, right? I said, please don't play these unless you're comfortable. And I'm adding to that kind of preface in that what I stated back then by saying that options don't move without people buying actual physical stock, right? We need to purchase physical shares as people, as anybody who wants to influence stock price, who wants to get the stock green, right? You got to purchase stock. With just purchasing options, the stock will never move. It just is what it is. It is what it is, guys. So that's just a basic rundown on that. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is risk management, right? So when AMC is said and done, I 100% have complete conviction that AMC is going to do some dirty, dirty, dirty stuff, right? I think it's going to moon. I think it's going to squeeze, or I would not be talking about the stock. And I've said this before. I'll say it again. I could make money in the stock market without, touching AMC if I wanted to. I would continue to do so, right? I've had success doing that, and I would continue to have success doing that. And we'd still be vibing, right? But I believe in AMC stock. Regardless, where I'm going with this is risk management is important because when AMC is done, let's say that you make $1 million, you make $5 million, you make $10 million, whatever that ends up being. When you make that cash, be smart with your investment. Now, what do I mean by that? There's two things that I kind of want to preface by saying. First off, don't forget about taxes, right? So a short-term tax, for capital gains is if you sell a security in less than a year time frame, you would get taxed about 37% on whatever profits you make after, I think it's about $450,000 or so. Someone can fact check me on that. I think that's a ballpark, somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000. So you want to set aside about 40% of whatever profits you make. So if you made $1 million, that means that you profited about $600,000. Right now, off that $600,000, the best thing that you can possibly do for yourself is invest it wisely. Because I say this all the time. I really want to double down on it. This is called Wall Street bets, not Wall Street guarantees. Right? I think that AMC is a much safer play right now than GameStop is, and I stand by that. I think that it's fundamentally undervalued. I think it's a value play right now. I really do. But as it continues to run up and it continues to, walk further and further away from that line of true fundamental value, the risk is going to start going back up again. I think the risk is pretty low right now. I think you buy in right now, you hold it for 6 months, you're going to walk away 2 or 3 times up on your money, regardless of whatever happens. But as it continues to go up, there's risks involved, right? So when this thing squeezes, when you get your freaking tennies and you go to Tenny Town, you're making your fat cash, guys. Just make sure that you're taking that cash and you're doing something good with it, right? Don't put in it. You guys do you. Obviously, this is your own decision. But I'm going to tell you what I plan on doing, right? When AMC goes to freaking Pluto, baby, I'm going to be taking my cash. I'm going to be reinvesting it smartly, right? I'm going to pay off my mortgage on my house. I am going to invest it in my girl Mavis, Sensonics, AGTC, XOWN, all the stocks that I freaking love, all my long-term stocks that I'm going to continue to hold for years and years down the road because I think they're going to do great things, right? I'm going to make sure I've got my great emergency fund saved up. I'm going to make sure that my mom and my family's taken care of. I'm just going to do things that I believe is worth my money, right? Make sure you're doing the same thing. And I'm just going to assume there's at least one person out there, right? I know the majority of people who invest do so intelligently, and in no way, shape, or form am I insulting the logic of anybody, right? I really, truly believe we've got a great community of smart people out there. But if you are, right, if you are over leveraged in AMC or GameStop, I am here to tell you 100% that it is okay to take some out. Right? Now, I say that because you need to feed yourself first. You need to take care of your family. You need to pay your bills. You need to make sure that you're not so invested that it is emotionally killing you. You can't do that. It's not sustainable. You're going to drive yourself freaking insane. What do I mean by that? Like going and putting every single penny and cent that you've got into AMC right now, I don't think that's the smart way to do it, right? I think 100% it's going to Moon. I think it's going to Pluto. But if in the 1, 2, 3, 4 months that it takes to do that, you're putting yourself in a spot where you're not eating, where it's emotionally killing you, where your family's suffering, where you just don't feel good, you can't do that, guys, right? So I think it's really, really important to just take a step back sometimes and to tie all these kind of points together, realize why you got into the stock, the people you've met along the way, regardless of gender, race, religion, sexual orientation, global orientation, all this sort of stuff, right? We're all people. We're all freaking apes, guys, right? So let's love each other. Let's respect each other. Let's work together. Let's offer counter arguments. Let's offer counter DD. Let's make this not an ape versus ape thing because ape don't hurt ape. That's all. It's as simple as it is. And lastly, right, make sure that you're not so heavily invested in this that you're emotionally invested in this, right? We don't want this to be so heavily, because this is a hypothesis, right? And you can challenge me. I'm giving my opinion. I'm open to challenge 100%. This is my opinion. I think there are people out there who are so heavily invested in this that they're making emotional decisions and starting controversy with a lot of people over the fact that they're very heavily invested in this. And it's so understandable. It is. It truly is, because I can think of myself for an example, right? I'm a storyteller. I like transparency. I can think of times when I was so heavily invested in something that it affected my emotions and I took it out on other people, right? We're all human. We all do things that sometimes we regret. And now this has nothing to do with my YouTube career by any means, but for example, Back when I lived with my parents when I was a kid, right? My old man's no longer with me. My mom, we just started talking again here recently. there would be times that I would get so pissed off at school. I was an angsty kid. I was a huge angsty kid. I loved metal. I loved all that sort of stuff, going to those pop punk shows. But that I'd just be so pissed off at the world that I would come home and not listen to a fucking thing that anybody would say to me, you know? And I'd just take it out on them because I was so heavily invested in what I thought mattered at the time. And I put way too much of my energy, way too much of my time, way too much of my money, way too much of XYZ into this thing, right? And I ended up taking it out on the people that love me, you know? I think about that all the time, that hey, what would I have done if my old man was still around? And I could tell him, hey, I'm sorry that I did that. Or my mom, thankfully she is still around and I'm able to have these conversations with her now. But to take this full circle to where we are right now, right? Make sure that you're not so heavily invested in something that it's not driving you to an emotional cave where you're sitting there in the dark, right? When you've got people around you. If there's anything that I've learned through AMC at all, it's that I can rely on other people, 100%. I rely on, this is probably the biggest thing that I've learned over the last 3 months is that I rely on you guys. I rely on this team. I rely on the community. I rely on the people in my Discord. I rely on everybody. And you need to do that with everybody else, right? Lean back on your people. Lean back on your apes. We're going to do that for you. And that's what I've got for the video. So I know that it was pretty atypical for the channel, but sometimes I feel like it's just good to talk, to get the weight off the shoulders, to get everybody up to speed with what's going on, and just have a conversation. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop that like. You know what it is. Consider subscribing for some more stuff like this. And if not, that's cool too. So take it easy, my friends, my family, and fellow Gorilla Gang, the apes, the apettes, the silverbacks, the orangutans, the whole 9 yards, baby. Take it easy, guys. Much love. Peace out.